Some programs are required to accept referrals from the coordinated entry system due to funding or other regulations. This means that clients referred to that program will have been assessed by a coordinated entry skilled assessor, which enters them onto a list, the prioritization list. From that list, we use CES policies and procedures to determine who will be referred to your housing program. This applies to pretty much all the rapid rehousing and permanent supportive housing programs in our community. Several types of IHA vouchers, like the emergency housing vouchers, homeless preference vouchers, HUD-BASH, and FYI. A few emergency shelters use CES referrals, some transitional housing, all of our GPD, some services-only programs. If you're not sure if your program accepts referrals from coordinated entry, you can talk to your supervisors or you're welcome to ask us. Referrals are generally made in our weekly case conferencing work group meeting. This is a place where our community stakeholders gather to discuss the housing opening and the people at the top of the prioritization list to determine whether the opening is a good fit for the person and whether it aligns with their preferences. So if you're requesting a referral through CES, you should notify us within 3 business days of your unit opening for PSH, or once you know that you'll have a slot open for rapid rehousing. Referrals are currently requested via Airtable. So to request a referral, you should have a link to a page that looks like this. If you need that, reach out to ces@chipindy.org and we can help get you set up in Airtable. So you'll click under the forms, the housing opening /referral request. And that opens a pretty self-explanatory form. You'll put in your program name, you, the person requesting, and it'll ask you additional information depending on what type of program or referral you're requesting. So once you submit that, it goes onto our case conferencing agenda, and the referral will be discussed during the next meeting. After that meeting, CES puts that referral into HMIS and will also send you an email. We work pretty closely with new programs to figure out the best point of contact to send referral emails to. But if you'd like somebody else specific copied on your referral, please just note that in Airtable when you submit the referral request, and we'll make sure they're on the email as well. To look at the referrals you've received, you'll get that information in an email, or if you open Client Track, there's a tool under User Tasks called Incoming Referrals. So if I click on that, it's by organization. So I'm under Damien Center, just using this as an example. And then there are a couple of different projects that Damien Center has. So the referrals are broken up by those made to Damien Center's PSH project and then RRH project. So from here, you can edit the referral. It opens a window with all the options in it. Or you can go to the client's dashboard. So that's the other way you can get to the referral. Once you receive the email, it'll have the client ID in it. You can search it in the search bar, pull it up, and then on the dashboard under referrals, you'll see that most recent referral made to your program listed there. The first thing you should do when you receive a referral is indicate that you have received the referral. This should be done within the first 48 hours of receiving the email referral, and it literally just indicates that you got the email, you know you have that referral, and you're planning to take the next steps. So to do that, we can go here, hit Edit Referral, and that is the current referral status, received or not received. If you did not receive the email referral, please don't just put not received. Let us know and we'll make sure that you get it. This should always really be received. From there, you'll go about getting in contact with the client, however your program advises that you do that. And you can record your contact attempts as you go through here. So most likely you'll mark it received, you'll hit save. You'll spend some time, maybe a day or a couple days, getting in touch with the client, and then you'll be coming back in to update those contact attempts. At this point, there are 4 common scenarios. One is that you cannot get in touch with the client. In this case, our CES policies and procedures state that you should have at least 3 contact attempts over a 2-week or 10 business day period. So it's not okay to just reach out once and then move on. We want to know that we as a system did our due diligence to really connect this person to the resources that were available to them. If you cannot get in touch with somebody, you're also expected to staff that at least once in case conferencing. This will give other providers who might be connected to them the opportunity to reach out and try and see if they can facilitate some kind of handoff. You can submit that staffing in Airtable using the staffing form if you need to do that. So if you haven't gotten in touch with somebody, you would be adding in 3 unsuccessful dates here over that 2-week period. You've staffed them in case conferencing, and you still weren't able to get in touch. In that case, you're good to go ahead and move on. We want to kind of keep the system moving, so we'll send a replacement referral after we know that we've done our due diligence and try and make sure that we can get somebody leased up in your program. So in this case, you would update this referral result to not attained. The reason is that you couldn't locate the client, and then put in the final date where you're kind of moving on from them. At that point, you would likely request a new referral through Airtable again, and you could update that this is a replacement for the client ID of the person that you weren't able to get in touch with. And then you hit save. Another common scenario is that you get in touch with the client and they've self-resolved or they're no longer in need of housing. So maybe they're doubled up, they found their own apartment, they moved out of town, etc. So in that case, you would not have to have 3 contact attempts. As soon as you know that they're not eligible in these resources anymore, you could go ahead and mark that you did get in contact with them, but it's still not attained because the client self-resolved might be the most common option you would choose for that. If that's the case, please enter their current living situation in the comment box so that coordinated entry can exit their coordinated entry enrollment to the right living situation. A third scenario is that you get in touch with the client and they decline for a different reason, but they still need services. So maybe they weren't interested in living in the location that your unit was available, or they're more interested in working with a different housing program. It's okay that they say no and they would prefer to wait for something else. And so in that case, same thing, you'll put that you got in contact with them because you did, but the client declined. And again, in the comments, please put why the client declined. They'll still be kind of the same place that they were at in the prioritization list. So they'll be eligible for another referral as soon as there's one available that's a better fit for them. And so we just need to know what that better fit is. The fourth scenario is that you get in touch with the client and the client and the program both agree to move forward. So in that case, that's great. You'll still log that you had direct service with them, but in this case, the referral result will be attained with the date. You don't necessarily need anything in the comments box in this case, and you'll hit save. And then from there, your program enrollment, if you do those in HMIS, should closely follow that attained referral. Otherwise, you'll begin your intake paperwork or whatever else is established by your program. The coordinated entry team does try to do some cleanup for our referrals. So you might hear from us if you have some referrals that are older than 48 hours that just need to be marked received, or some referrals that are older than those 2 weeks that haven't been attained or not attained yet. And in that case, just let us know. Maybe you are just missing an update and you can go ahead and add that in HMIS. Or if you're coming up against a barrier getting in touch with that client or moving forward with the referral, you're welcome to talk it through with CES, and we might also suggest that you bring it to case conferencing.